Okay, you guys, it has been a long, frustrating day at the DMV. And so I'm super tired and stressed from just being there all afternoon and not getting any work done hardly at all, except in the morning before we left. And so I'm going to kind of take a little moment to decompress. I'm going to watch this trailer that I heard about. Was tipped off to this by Storm Shadow a little while back about this trailer coming up, and then he told me that it had come out, and so I'm going to check it out. I don't really know much about this character, so I'm not sure. I don't have much to go on, so I'm just going to go ahead and press play and see how it is. Now, right away, I'm noticing that this trailer is pretty long. It's at 2 minutes 40 seconds. I don't know if it's going to take up the entire space of that. I expect that it probably will take up most of it because it is directly from the source. It's from Sony. So let's go ahead and see. Oi. Oh, one of those.
Initiate sequence.
Gina, I'm home.
Memories are made of this.
Oh,
What is this place?
no,
I'm
he's
sorry
not.
to be the one to tell you this, but you got yourself killed.
Oi.
At RST, we rebuild the most important assets in the U.S. military. Soldiers
Like a
yourself.
super soldier.
You're the first who we've successfully managed to bring back, but improved, enhanced. With the technology in your veins, you have an army inside you that will not only make you stronger, it will heal you instantly.
Oi, that's creepy. Oh, that makes me want to itch. Oh,
Where are you going?
I've got unfinished business.
he killed his wife, girlfriend.
The man who murdered my wife.
Oh.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not, is it?
All right, shut him down. And initiate sequence.
What is going on here?
Okay, who is the next target for elimination?
Oh.
Tell me, do you remember anything?
Do I know you guys?
I don't think so.
Are they? Okay, it is a comic book.
Manipulating you.
Yeah.
What you think is real sometimes ain't. And initiate sequence.
Okay, so they're putting false stories in his head.
You can't control me forever.
You sure about that?
Hmm.
Revenge is what makes a man like you exceptional.
You know nothing about men like me.
That is absolutely fantastic.
I feel like I just heard this. Are they playing this on repeat?
Right? That's what I'm feeling like too. Okay, so this all right. Well, there was a lot in this trailer, you guys, and it was on the long side. It clocks in at just under 2:34. I was noticing that it was getting long. It felt like it was getting just a bit too repetitive. They were showing things they didn't need to show. But of course, if you stop and think about it a little bit, I think there was a point to it because they're showing you the premise that they are filling his head with false stories and giving him marks to go after to eliminate. And so the first one, I guess he doesn't really have a wife. He thought he did. And maybe he doesn't, because then they go back and okay, next target. They create a whole different story for him. That's the way I took it. So, I can kind of get why it was as long as it was. I still do feel like it was maybe about 15, 20 seconds longer than it really had to be. That song on loop, was starting to it was starting to get on my nerves a little bit. So I liked how he mentioned that, how he referenced that part about, he feels like he's just heard it again and again. So yes, that's exactly how I felt. He nailed it. Um, anyway, so with regard to this particular story, I don't know much at all. Well, pretty much nothing at all about this character. And I do believe that I was told that it was based on a comic, but it was not a character. I don't even know if it's like DC or Marvel, or if it's like a Dark Horse or one of the other, offshoot comic books. I don't know. Um, so I don't. Yeah, I really don't think I'd ever heard of this one before. And I'm not sure that he was even a comic book character that was around when I would read comics way back in the day, because I don't really read them anymore. But so I mean, this certainly looks like a fun film. Yes, it is right up my alley. I'm curious to find out how much of this will feel like, well, how much of what we're being shown is actually going to be real or not, because we're going to be going through these experiences with him, and then it's always being reset and a new story is happening. So I'm wondering, how is he going to be able to break free from that? I'm sure he will. He's going to be able to break free from these people that are controlling him, and he'll eliminate them or destroy their organization or whatever. I mean, that's basically how it's going to go, I'm sure. Um, but I'm just curious, how will he be able to do that, especially if they have like a kill switch on him? Where they said shut him down and it shut him down. How is he going to be able to prevent that from happening? See, these are questions that I'm curious to see answered. I know they will be answered. I know he will be able to eventually bypass this control that they have on him. I'm just curious to see, how is it going to happen. So yeah, they don't have a release date here. It just says coming soon, so I doubt they'll say anything more specific in the description. But I don't know yet if this is something that would draw me to the theater. Certainly it would be the type of movie that I feel would be best experienced on the big screen, because mostly the types of movies that I feel like are more enjoyable on the big screen are action type movies. Now, I've been to see Joker 3 times, you guys. That's not an action oriented movie at all. It's really mostly a character drama, but it's so effective for me to see that one on the big screen because it's such an emotional character drama. Pretty rare for me to feel that way in general about movies that aren't action oriented, just because I feel like you can appreciate it just fine on the small screen, but big budget films with a lot of stuff happening here and there, and they're jumping off these buildings, and they're doing all these fights, and the choreography is awesome, and the music is cool. I feel like that's so much more fun on the big screen. So while I do feel that way, I'm not sure that this movie in particular will be enough of a draw for me to go to the theater. But that doesn't mean I don't plan to see it in the theater. If I was going to see it, I think it would be, well, I am going to see it at some point. I just don't know yet if it's going to be on the big screen. A lot of that will depend on how the audience is receiving it, and also what's up at the time. If I'm just way too busy to go. But yeah, I mean, it certainly looks like fun. I have to say though that Vin Diesel, he's not my favorite. He really, there's not really much of anything about him as an actor that compels me to want to see stuff he's in. In fact, a lot of times I just won't watch anything that he's in because he doesn't do anything for me at all. It's kind of like Charlize Theron. She doesn't spark any interest in me. Like she doesn't, there's nothing about her that draws me to her as an actress. And I feel like that about Vin Diesel. He's just does not give me that spark of interest. Certainly I've seen things with him in it, but not very many things, to be honest, you guys. I'm trying to think if there's a movie I've actually seen all the way through with him in it. Maybe Pitch Black, but even then I don't know if I saw that whole thing. Gosh, I'd have to think. I really don't know. Anyway, whatever. I'm in the middle of filming. We'll have to edit this
Hi,
out.
YouTube. Zartuelia.
You can't see. They can't see you.
Crossing over.
Crossover. Anyway, I don't know. Where was I? I was just talking about Vin Diesel and how he's not really a huge draw for me. Like maybe if this was The Rock, I'd be more inclined. I'd feel more drawn to go see it in the theaters. But yeah, unfortunately, he's not. He's just not one of my favorites. But that I will check this out at some point. I mean, it's not. He's not so much of a turnoff that I would refuse or would decide, nah, I'm not going to watch this. Generally, the types of films he has been in that I just haven't watched them because he's in it have been films that just haven't interested me in general anyway. Like I don't like the Fast and Furious movies. They just don't really. And wasn't he in something called Triple X, and that just reminded me too much of Fast and Furious type stuff. Crazy over the top action. This looks like it's going to be crazy over the top action too, but I feel like it's the underlying story with regard to the character that he is and these people that have control over him. That sparks some interest in me more so than a movie like Fast and Furious or Triple X or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like I've kind of rambled on and on, but those are my thoughts as they came to me, and I can't think of anything else to add about it at the moment, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Bye.